Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Today, I have my pals, Luciano and Moon from Houston. They operate down in Houston. I'm in Texas as well, so fellow Texans. And today, we're going to talk about, they've really put in place some amazing systems and processes over the past couple of years to help take their business to a whole nother level, and how you should be using this time right now where we're all on lockdown to do the same thing. Professional real estate investors know that it's not really about the real estate. In fact, real estate is just a vehicle to freedom. A group of over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors from across the country meet several times a year at the Investor Fuel Real Estate Mastermind to share ideas on how to strengthen each other's businesses, but also to come together as friends and build more fulfilling lives for all of those around us. On today's show, we're going to continue our conversation of fueling our businesses and fueling our lives. I'm glad you're here. What's up, guys? Hey, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike.
How's it going? Good to see you.
See you.
So we were talking a little bit ahead of time, and these guys have an interesting story about how they kind of operating separately and then came together to form something amazing. Luciano has a background in engineering, so he has that engineering mindset of how to put in place kind of systems and processes, and started to follow what we call the EOS processes, which is out of the book. What's the name of the book, Luciano? Traction. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot it. So a lot of us in our Investor Fuel Mastermind kind of follow that process, and we have a number of people that are we have some implementers in the group that help do that. And it's really helped kind of change their business. So I don't want to steal your thunder, guys. Why don't you take a second and just introduce yourselves? Go ahead, Luciano. Why don't you start off?
Yeah, I'm Luciano Ares. I'm here operating from Houston, Texas. We're primarily on the residential side, and we've been doing that, Moon and I, for almost the same time, about 10, 11 years, but we joined forces about 2.5 years ago.
Okay. And Moon, what's your background prior to the last couple of years?
I've always been a realtor in the Houston area. So I've been just doing real estate and been involved in it, like Luciano said, for about the past 10 years as well.
Yep. And were you a corporate guy? I know Luciano has an engineering background. What was your background prior to?
Before that, no, I never had a corporate job, and not that I don't wish that on anybody, but my family has businesses, so they have different things, car wash, restaurants, oil and gas.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, it's interesting with your background, Luciano, in engineering, and I have a corporate background too. It's like I used to kind of, there are some blessings that come out of that, right? Some of the structure, because at the end of the day, we all have, even if you have a small business, you need to kind of operate it like a big company, right? There's a reason there are departments and structures and processes and systems in place. And so on many levels, I think even though we don't like that lifestyle and we don't like, working for the man necessarily, there's a lot to be learned, like pulling it out of that background, right?
Yeah, we have a guy that who just joined us, and he had during his first level 10, he joined us, and he told us, now I understand how you guys can do this level, or this number of deals, or the size of business with only 5 people full time and 2 people part time.
Yeah. Having those structures. Yep. So I'll let you guys kind of tell the backstory a little bit, but I know you were both operating individually, and then about 2.5 years ago, probably right around the time that you joined Investor Fuel. I mean, you've been a member from the very first meeting, and that was just over 2.5 years ago, is when you kind of just said, I'm going to put the brakes on everything, and I'm just effectively going to start over. So maybe kind of tell us, like, when you realized that you had some structural issues, and I guess when you guys realized that you would be better together than separately.
Man, we were both operating individually, but doing everything from A to Z. And within the space that we were, it was not working any longer. So we decided to have our own system as far as marketing or lead generation. And when we start putting this together, one thing that was clear, I could not be working on the systems and process to put that in place. And at the same time, I go to acquisitions, disposition, construction, property management, finance, HAR. We could not do everything, just either Moon or myself. And luckily, Moon has a huge background in acquisition disposition. When we joined force, he let me work on the systems 100% while he was there producing revenue, which is, without revenue, we can't survive.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because you guys have a very complementary skill set, right? I think with a lot of people, whether they're husband and wife teams or they're like friends or brothers or father, son, whatever, like sometimes people get into, not that you guys don't like each other. I mean, I know you do, but a lot of people get into their whole purpose for working together is because they like each other, and their skill sets are an afterthought, right? And so I think that's a problem that a lot of people have with partnerships, is that they're too much alike and they're good at the same things and they're both bad at the same things, which are critical components of the business. And so you guys really have a complementary skill set.
Yeah, that helps a lot. And one thing too, it's having very well defined who does what. So we're not stepping on each other's toes at any time. We just would ask for help if we need a second opinion on something, because I mean, Moon has a lot of experience. In general, I have some experience in general. So a lot of new things we consult with each other.
Right. Right. So let's talk a little bit about kind of clear accountability and even bringing on, some of the right people. You guys have a team. And so maybe, Moon, how do you guys hold each other accountable? I know you have inside of EOS, there's obviously the meeting structure, which are like weekly level 10s, but talk a little bit, maybe even above and beyond that, like how you guys help hold each other accountable.
Yeah, I mean, again, to your point, like we have the level 10s every week that helps keep us on track. And, with the systems and processes that we follow, I mean, it keeps everybody in line and know what we need to do. We have a chart that keeps everybody in the boxes that they need to be as well. And then again, as far as everybody following the core value, it's very important for us.
Yeah. Yeah. So talk about that core values a little bit. So it's easy to say that. And I'll say about 2 years ago, we went through the EOS implementation as well with our buddy Gary. And it's not that we didn't have values before that. We just had never defined them, like never said like, these are, you always do the right thing, and when you like people, you don't want to be around dishonest people. But we never really documented our core values. And so maybe share like how that changed because I think you guys are probably the same, right? You had values, you just didn't necessarily have them defined as a company. Here's what we stand for. Here's what we, what we want to repel, right? Maybe kind of share that epiphany, I guess, when you guys did it.
Hey, it was a good exercise, and it's like I was sharing with you before. I was lucky to have, to join forces with Moon, and we end up really having the same core values, and the next person that joined force with us, she really fits in with our core values. But this is the thing, we like working independent. We like to work in our own silo. So if Moon and I bring the, hey, do you think we should have an office? They say no immediately. So we need people that, really accountable, really independent, that can motivate themselves. Not that we don't. I mean, we push a lot for our team to learn, because they want to learn. And that's something Moon and I love learning. So that helps. But again, going back to the exercise of putting the core values together, like to your point, we probably could have more, or we probably could have less, but the ones we picked up and identified, it really spells to ourselves. And it really, for like I was sharing with you, the past 18 months, we went through like 12 people that we fired and hired. And when we look back, we can't hire based on core values only, but when we look back, they clearly didn't have our core values, clearly.
Yeah. And what are some examples? What are some examples of a core value you have that is like been violated like most frequently for all the people that weren't a fit that you said you let go?
Man, one thing, we're fast paced. So if you don't have the self improvement on yourself, it's not gonna work. Let's say Moon and I, we can put thousands of classes together and help our team, but if they don't go back to their place and don't do homework, they're not gonna advance. They're gonna forget about everything.
Yeah.
So self improvement is one of the main things that and trust. So we have that trust with them, and then they do and again, like Moon was sharing with us, the level 10. Everybody has to read a book. Everybody has to be progressing, and most of this progress is on their own.
Right. Yeah. Absent of that, like I understand exactly what you're saying. Absent of that, if people are not trying to improve themselves, do a better job, it seems like that's heavily tied to, this is just a job and I'm waiting until 5 o'clock when I can check out. Right. It's like, it feeds directly into work ethic. Like, is this something you're passionate about doing, or this is just a job that you're trying to get a paycheck on? That kind of goes hand in hand. Yeah.
Yeah, we had several experiences with the clock. I mean, we do 9 to 6, and it was about 5 o'clock later.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about, like, have you found, like, when you kind of go through this, what are some questions you ask to gauge work ethic and kind of around self-improvement? I mean, are there some, as you kind of go through this, I know you said you hired and had to let a bunch of people go because they weren't a fit. Do you feel like that helps you, kind of going through that helps you get better at identifying the right candidates?
Yeah, going back to one thing, instead of the way our team is small, so we're sharing with you, we're 5 people full time, and we have 2 part time. One being Lauren, that she has. I mean, she's an attorney. She does another job, but and we have Jaime, who is our part time handyman. That's been amazing to us. But all of these people, the 3 other people that we have in our team, they came from our inner circle, especially Moon's inner circle.
Yeah.
So that, and the other ones, they came through hiring, through regular process. They came from a referral of somebody, or regardless the amount of questions that we went through with them. Probably you've done that before. I'm not sure. The top grading guide for
Yeah, we started using that actually before EOS. Just top. He's talking about Luciano was referring to a book called Top Grading, which is kind of an interview process. It really is. We primarily use the questions and the series of, like, questions you ask on the phone interview, questions you ask in person, and questions you ask for the second interview, right?
We use pretty much that guideline to interview somebody, but again, that thing that proved to us, like the first associate that we had, Moon brought in, and it's been just a blessing to us. The acquisition that we have, Moon knows him for a long time. The other associate that joined us about 4 months ago, Selena, knew her for a long time. So it kind of shortened this unknowing period.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that helps because you know what you tend to do, what we tend to do as entrepreneurs, especially when you have a small team, like you can't have redundancy, right? You don't have just a bunch of people hanging out in case you need the work done. You just can't afford that. So sometimes it's like going shopping at the grocery store when you're hungry, right? You hire somebody when you need them, and you just start to overlook when you need them, like, you need to fill that role like yesterday, right? So so you tend to, like, say, I think I can overcome that. You start to overcome issues. And when you look back, if it's somebody that leaves or you let go, when you look back, you're like, you know what? I should have known because they said this or they did that or something happened. But, sometimes we just, we want somebody so bad that we need to fill a role so bad that we're just like overlook things. But if they're in your inner circle, you probably know more about them. They understand you better. There's probably a little bit higher level of accountability because they're like, I know that person, or we have similar friends. I don't want to let them down. Like they just step up a little more than if they're in some new circle where they don't know anybody, probably, right?
Yeah, I know some other wholesalers that in town that are friends of mine, and they have terrible acquisition guys that don't do any follow-ups, that barely go on appointments. They have like he was saying that he had 70 leads because he's a cold caller. He had 70 leads in his pipeline that were untouched because they have full-time jobs and they're relying on this acquisition person that's not even paying attention. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yep. So, talk about your kind of meeting. Go ahead,
I'm sorry,
Luciano.
Mike. One thing, just going back here, one thing that we like as well, Moon and I, when we're hiring, we don't like hiring somebody with experience on what we're trying to train them for, because we do have a training place and we prefer them. I mean, they come with their core values, but we want them almost raw in the role that we're gonna give to them.
Yeah.
No habits.
Yeah, because they have like these preconceived notions about, well, here's how we used to do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are some roles? And I found, so for acquisitions people, you probably are looking for people with real estate background, or you're not generally?
No, I mean
Yeah.
the guy that we have that's a friend of mine. He has no real estate background at all, I
Yeah.
mean, other than buying his personal property. But again, with a good system of training them, I mean, he
Right.
picked up.
Yep. Awesome. That's good. Yeah. Because I think, if you hire like a admin that's worked for a real estate broker, an agent before, like they don't understand this is a different business. And I found that too. I've generally tried to find for acquisitions people, for salespeople, like people that have, they were in car sales or other kind of consultative high dollar sales, but not real estate, because they think they know everything already. Right.
Yeah, it's a big mistake. And again, we had opportunity to bring people before that they were either wholesalers or they worked for another wholesaler. We prefer, again, hiring people that we can train on it. And Moon has too much experience, and so with that said, he's sharing part of it. I mean, you're gonna learn too much. So
Yeah.
we don't need somebody ready.
Yeah. So what do you do for kind of a meeting cadence? I know you follow the EOS process. Maybe just share your meeting cadence, and then some of your higher level KPIs. Because, part of the EOS process is that everybody on your team needs to have a number, something they're accountable to, that gets reported out on a regular basis, so that they can be held accountable, right? So kind of quantifiable. Maybe share like your meeting structure with your team, and then some of the KPIs you track that might help other people that are listening right now.
So on Tuesdays, every Tuesday, we have our level 10 that goes from 9 to, we try to stop no later than 10:30. And that's the level 10 model, where we go through our scorecard, which we hit all the points, how much we spend on marketing, with that, how many leads we got, price per lead, how many appointments we had it, or we set up, how many appointments we went through, how many contracts, how many buy, how many sell, how much money in the bank we have. Within, if you're doing construction, the budget, if we're going over the budget, over number of days, if you have listings or houses for sale, what is the DOM, days on the market of that. We go through the property management as well, as far as if we have rental paid, or any vacancy, or if we're spending too much on maintenance. And then we go specifically to the acquisition, the acquisition side, where we go number the appointments. So we distribute the number of leads per them, and say how many appointments they attended, how many contracts. But one thing is very important that Moon and I, we put it together, number of follow-up, because we had a guy that we had to let it go, and our conversion was going down, and it was clear that his communication, his follow-up with our potential sellers were horrible. Yep. So after we implement that scorecard just for the acquisition, it kind of, we feel that the pipeline moving a little better now.
Yeah.
And after we go through our scorecard, like Moon was sharing, we have the what we call the goals for the 3 months, we call rocks.
Yep.
And we see where we at with every single rock. Every single one of us, we have about 3 to 5 rocks. And we discuss where we at, what needs to be done to get there. Then we go to the to-do list, to the issues list. we have that full meeting, understanding where we at every single week to achieve the goals within the 3 months that we have. And because we all work virtual, let's put it this way, we work from home, everybody. We go through we do a little operation meeting when we're done with our level 10, that we go through all the deals that we have in our pipeline, which we have under contract.
Right.
It could be A, B, or it could be on B to C. And we go through every single one. We see the issues that we have to clear title, who's going to do what, which attorney we're going to talk to, and that may take another hour. But that one, we were having, that one really helped us expedite our files. And
yeah, you've got this effectively, you know, if you're a grocery store, that's your inventory, right? And there's some of it's starting to get a little old sometimes. It allows you to kind of look at aging and deal with problems on a regular basis, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and then another meeting that we established that we on Thursdays, we're doing a sales training, Moon and I, and acquisition. So we go through a sales training for about an hour and a half. And
every week?
Every week. We
That's
start
great.
that when we start, our conversion was going down. It was exactly when Moon stepped a little bit to the side on the acquisitions when he was training somebody else. And the other acquisition really, start showing that he was not the right person for that seat.
Right.
Great guy, but not the right guy for this job.
Yeah, the great part about all this.
Yeah, with the sales training, with 2 Thursday, we knew exactly why. The guy could not memorize a thing. One line. And the guy could not do homework. Every week we need to talk about the same thing. So with the sales training now, we were able to change the level of our appointments as well.
Yeah. And the great part about using all these KPIs to track is, you know, how many leads came in, how many appointments did they go on, is you can see trends, right? Obviously trends, but also, and you would probably agree with this, like when people in your office know that they are supposed to hit a certain number and they can see the number, like they kind of self-regulate more, right? They know they're not doing what they're supposed to do before you even have the meeting, right?
Go ahead, Moon. Yep.
Yep. No, I definitely agree. It keeps everybody on track because, to Luciano's point, without that sales training, we were easily able to identify the people that weren't even paying attention to what was going on. So,
Right.
we had a lead log that they would not even return it. So.
Yep. Awesome. So what guidance would you guys give people that are, first off, I think we would all recommend reading the book Traction, right? It's actually something that a lot of real estate investors started to get attracted to probably around the time that you started doing it yourself 2.5, 3 years ago. I don't actually know when that book was written, but it really kind of was adopted. It's not really for real estate investors at all. It's for just all kind of small businesses, entrepreneurs, right? But a lot of people started to gravitate towards that about 3 years ago, I'd say. And any guidance for people that, don't have the systems and processes in place and they're just kind of flying by the seat of their pants, which is a lot of real estate investors?
We're always chasing revenue. So in that mode, we never stop to. And one thing you have to decide, do you want to be small or you want to, or you want your business to get to certain level? Because if you want to be small and you're comfortable with that, your level of systems do not need to be that deep or that complex. But if you decide to grow and scale up, you have to have a system. It is worth taking the time to slow your business. You're going to feel horrible because you're not going to have revenue. Things, will be all in paper. But when you start executing all the systems and process that you have in place, life is so much easier within your business.
Yeah.
If you have the time to stop and put your systems in place, especially in hard times with the economy, it's a good time to stop and really, if you already have a system, to tweak your systems. And if you don't have one, to sit down and really put it together. And one thing too is to follow it. we have, I mean, 2 years and a half, we have not missed one level 10.
That's great.
In 2 years and a half, we never missed one quarterly review. And we make sure we bring, I mean, we have a coach that you know him, but we bring him every 3 months because we need somebody from the outside to put us in a discomfort. We need to be out of our comfort zone.
Yeah. 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 I found right when we implemented it, I knew that I could not, for example, and I don't know how you've done this, Luciano, you're very methodical on what you do, but I knew I cannot be the person that is hosting the meeting or preparing for the meeting. I need to have it outsourced to my team so I can just show up, because if I have to get prepared and I'm not prepared in advance, then it's going to disrupt everybody. So, I think, do you guys do that? Do you have somebody on your team that, like an admin or somebody else, that's responsible for kind of showing up on time, making sure everybody's there, having the reporting updated and all that?
It's a blend of contribution. Like we have Lauren that she puts all the finance for us together. I mean, I helped her on that. We have Selena that she helped us. Let's say if you're talking for the quarterly meeting,
Or even the weekly meetings. That was my concern, is like, if I have to pull a bunch of stuff together ahead of time and I'm the prep person, then we're going to be disappointed every week.
the weekly meeting, what we do, Selena she runs the level 10 for us. And the only time that Moon and I, we jump in more is within the scorecard.
Yeah.
But we have a structure that, I mean, you probably have that too in Asana. So it's every week we update that, very, very easy.
Yeah.
But as to your point, yes, Selena runs that for us. And as well, the quarterly meeting, which is a full day, we need somebody else from the outside.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, so Luciano, would you mind, you've been a member of Investor Fuel since the very beginning, over 2.5 years now. Would you mind just sharing a little testimonial of kind of, what it's been like to be a part of the group and how it's impacted your business?
It changed the game. I mean, being surrounded by the right people, the right environment, the right information, and it really helps. Let's put it this way: it takes a lot of unknowns because I'm too focused on reading, studying, searching for things, but you have a person next to you, they already know about it. So I think it changed the business of most of us within the group.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, buddy. So if folks want to learn about you guys do a lot of volume in Houston, you wholesale a lot of stuff. How can folks get a hold of you or learn more about what you've got going on down in Houston if they wanted to connect?
I mean, they can email either one of us. My email, it's luciano@fitacquisitions.com, and Moon is moon@fitacquisitions.com.
Okay. Awesome. You guys are still hungry for deals down there, right?
Oh man, we can wait for more.
Yeah, it says, for those of you that are listening right now, obviously we're going through all this coronavirus stuff. It's a lot is yet to be determined, but I think most of us are optimistic that this is going to be a good opportunity for serious real estate investors. I think a lot of newer folks that are not that committed, and a lot of people that didn't know what they were doing, that were way overpaying for deals and usually backing out on deals anyway. A lot of that stuff is going to go away, I think, for a while here. So for those, it's time for the professionals to take it to another level again. That's
and one thing too, Mike, it's time for a lot of the competition. I mean, to get a lot of the competition that are new to take the time, I mean, to really learn deep real estate, because this is not it's just by buying houses, selling houses. I mean, we're dealing with lives, and a lot of these people, not because they're bad people, because of the lack of the knowledge, they send a message that all of us, we're like that.
Right.
So it's a good time for them to sit down, really learn the details of real estate. Like Moon and I, we talk about that. You have to gain the respect of your seller, of your buyer, and that will definitely be achieved with knowledge, if you have the knowledge. And again, unfortunately for a lot of people, it would be a hard time now with fewer deals.
Yeah. No, I think if you're serious about this, I think today's show we talked about it's a really good opportunity to put some of these systems and processes in place and really think about how to run your business like a business. I mean, we all have, most of us have more time now, less commuting, less taking kids to school, no kids sports right now. There's a lot of extra time we've been blessed with here. You got to make sure you use it wisely and don't squander it just sitting around waiting for the next thing to happen, right? Yeah. Awesome, guys. Well, hey, thanks for spending time with us today.
Hey, thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys a bunch. We wish you all the best.
Likewise, man.
Awesome. And everybody, if you haven't yet subscribed to us, hope you got some value out of today. You should subscribe to us. If you go to investorfuel.com, you can watch all of our shows. And of course, you can subscribe to us wherever you're watching this right now, YouTube, Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, anywhere else. We'd love it if you subscribe, give us a positive review if you got some value today. Till then, see you on the next episode. Are you an active real estate investor? If so, and you want to latch on to the power of surrounding yourself with over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors, all committed to building stronger businesses and living richer, fuller lives, you should jump on a call with us to learn more about Investor Fuel. Simply visit investorfuel.com to get started.